Thank you so much, Madam Laura Emond, Vice Chancellor of SOAS University, Excellencies, Ambassadors of African and Caribbean countries, accredited to the United Kingdom present here today, ladies and gentlemen, members of academic community, ladies and gentlemen, panelists, ladies and gentlemen of the African diaspora, ladies and gentlemen of African descent, distinguished members of civil society, dear friends of from the media and culture, dear students. With deference and a spirit of historical responsibility that I take the floor in these places. So steeped of history, to firstly express my sincere gratitude to SOAS University, to, of course, the president of the university also, for the facilities granted which allow the perfect organization of this conference. Then to bow before the memory of our illustrious predecessors, and finally to congratulate the young and old people who are here for keeping the flame of Pan-Africanism alive. Distinguished participants, it's not my custom to adhere to the often symbolic ritual of commemorations. Of course, 2 months ago, I was in Berlin for the commemoration of 140 years of Berlin Conference. Now, for us in Africa, the consequence of Berlin Conference on our life is what we are seeing right now. When I was there, I told them, be careful. We are not happy because you divide us. Because Africa as one continent now we are 54 or 55 countries. You know, the small state, like, where is the representative of Ghana here? Like, you know, Ghana, not like Nigeria, I know. Like small, you know, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Gambia, Lesotho, the small country, the small state, I say, is one of a consequence of Berlin Conference in our life and also in our continent. Seriously, I would like to tell you, we are here because we believe in Pan-Africanism movement. When we talk today about Pan-Africanism movement, some people say, why Pan-Africanism movement today? Why from the first conference here in London, the people, the African people and descent continue to talk about Pan-Africanism? I would like to share with you 4 key messages. My key messages is around 4 questions. My first question is why we are here in London. The second one is why this theme, the London Conference, 125 years later, Pan-Africanism and a dialogue on reparation. The third one is why is a non-Pan-Africanism Congress in Lomé? I'm sure maybe like, I don't know if you know Lomé. Lomé is the best capital in Africa. Capital of Togo, of course. So please come in Lomé. And the last question is, why we fight for this cause? I will try to respond to the first question. The first question, why we are here in London? I think we are here because, indeed, 125 years ago, visionary figures gathered here in London to deliberate on the future of Africa and its people, scattered across the globe by the fate of history. Their vision was clear: to unite African people, to oppose the exacerbated racism, exclusion, and oppression suffered by Africans and people of African descent. You know, I think for you and for us, London reminds us of the strength of our historical ties, our ability to win great battles when we are united, and the imperative to continue, despite obstacles and dangers, the struggle of justice and equality for the people of Africa and its diaspora. Since 1900, a long and arduous road has been traveled, marked by challenges, sacrifices, and resilience. Some milestone victories have been achieved, but the decisive victory over the historical injustice remains to be won. Indeed, we can't be satisfied with the apparent end of slavery and colonization as a final stage of our struggle. About my second question, why is this the theme? The London Conference, 125 years later, Pan-Africanism and dialogue on reparations. Whether in North and South America, the Caribbean, Africa, or elsewhere, the issue of reparations is today at the heart of demand of dispossessed, enslaved, deported, and colonized peoples. The dialogue, we need a dialogue. The dialogue, what we need is not against, you know, is a dialogue for our dignity before. It's not some things, you know, like a violent revolution or something, you know. It's a dialogue is our own history. And we need to open the sincere dialogue with everyone. This conference is for us more than evocative. Indeed, in my view, this is a time to initiate a genuine, sincere, and respectful dialogue on these crimes committed against the people of Africa and on the best way to redress them. It's very important for us. I know you will discuss about the issue of reparation. My third question, it was why the ninth Pan-African Congress in Lomé. Over the decades, as you know, Pan-African congresses have succeeded one another and have continued to constantly reiterate the legitimate demands of African people for greater justice and equity. From Paris in 1919 to Accra in 1958, via Dar es Salaam in 1974, each gathering was strengthened the determination of African people to demand and end the historical injustices. Thus, under the leadership of William Dubois, the first Pan-African Congress called for the end of colonial rule and institutional racism and demanded better living conditions for Africans and Afro-descendants. At the 1921, 1923, and 1927 Congresses, as you know, demands were primarily oriented for gradual transition and self-governance. At the 1945 Manchester Congress, we have to celebrate Manchester Congress also because we are in 2025. It was in 1945. A decisive turning point was recorded by the direct call for decolonization and the right of African people to self-determination. This solemn call contributed to the wave of decolonization of the 1950s and 1960s, followed by the creation of African Union Organization in 1963. The 1974 Dar es Salaam Congress contributed in its own way to strengthening ties between independent African states and the diaspora. These few historic advances have not unblocked the path of reparations, which was remained obstructed by the unjustified desire of certain countries. We have to be honest to silence any debate on that on the issue, or was to prevent any dialogue on the subject. The Kampala Congresses in 1994 and Johannesburg in 2014, whatever brought the issue of reparation for slavery and colonization to the forefront. But these concerns were dismissed of African monologues by those to whom they were addressed. It was become clear to us that the will to acknowledge and repair the wrongs of the past was left vacant on our protagonists. Some countries that practice slavery and colonization have chosen to wipe their feet and hands, still covered by the blood and sweat of the sons and daughters of Africa, with the rage of oblivion and contempt. It should also be clear for them that neither time nor contempt will overcome our determination to obtain reparation. Our pain is acute. Our expectation is what you and I, we are sharing together. We can say only no comment. Be sure for this part as African and as Togo, we are we are committed to working towards reparation and reconciliation with the past and for the advent for a better world. We are deeply convinced that humanity and equity for indivisible and the future of relation between our peoples can only be consolidated by on truth and justice. As you know, Togo proposed and obtained the approval of African Union, our continental organization, for the 2021-2031 decade to be declared Decade of African Roots and the African Diaspora. The African Union mandated the Togolese Republic to organize on the 9th Pan-African Congress during the last half of this year. This Congress will take place, of course, in Lomé, December 8th to 12th. Preceding the African Union, we choose, as you know, a theme for 2025. That theme is Justice for Africans and People of Africa Descent through Reparation. In the theme what we have this year for African Union. That's why we are talking about reparation. So the theme about reparation is very important for us, for African Union, and for everyone in African continent. The 9th Pan-African Congress, which will be held next December 8 to 12 in Lomé, on the theme Renewal of Pan-Africanism and Africans' Role in the reform of multilateral institutions, mobilizing resources and reinventing itself to act, must be an opportunity to move forward on the reparation agenda and the place of our state in global governance. Dear brothers and sisters, right now you have to know we are waiting for you in Lomé, in Togo, your country, the best one we have in Africa. To respond to my last question, why we fight for this cause? You know, I don't know if everyone knows what is the true history, what we have in African continent. We can see it, we can check in your book, the history book. We are fighting for this cause because you and I, we are human rights workers. We believe in humanity. But I don't know if you know the human right codified in Africa. Did you know the human right codified in Africa? Sorry, you are not a student. Civilization and law were created in Africa, particularly in the Mali Empire. They didn't tell us. They never tell us civilization and law was created in Africa. They just tell us something like, you know, I don't want to do politics. So, no one can teach us neither law nor civilization. No one. And no one invented the Constitution and human rights. It was the Mali Empire that first established them in the 13th century, more than 500 years before the French Revolution. In our books, they say, from French Revolution, we can talk about human rights. We say no. 13th century before, 500 years before. So it was 13th century when the Mali Empire established the human rights constitution. It's we have to know, and we have to teach that truth to our students. Of course, it was the name of this charter. The name of this constitution was the Charter of Mandine. It was the Charter of Mandine, which was solemnly proclaimed in 1236 on the occasion of the enthronement of the Emperor of Mali. His name is not Madame Laura. His name is Sundiata Keita. Be sure. This charter laid down the basic principles for the governance of the new Mali Empire. As you know, it consisted as 44 articles, which allows the social life of the empire to be organized with issues such as social peace, education, food security, etc., etc. The Mandine Charter is very modern, yet is one of the oldest constitution in the world. I thought it only exists in oral form. It was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2009, demonstrating his historical and cultural importance of the whole world. The Mali Empire no longer exists, but the word of this charter and the rights associated with it are still passed down orally from generation to generation in a highly codified form. One of the articles of this charter reads, "No life is superior to another." It was in 13th century. The Mali Empire says, no life is superior to another. 5 centuries later, the same sentence became the French Declaration, all men are born free and equal and rights. Where you can find the original? The original, it was in Empire is Empire of Mali. The original is not in French Constitution. Thank you so much.